Are you interested in taking chipboard or paperboard pieces and turning them into albums where you can save great memories and write down wonderful things that your family and friends have done? Well, I'm going to show you how you can make these chipboard albums with a few pieces of this board and pretty papers. Stay tuned. For the base of my album, I'm going to use this chipboard or paperboard that comes from just the back of some packaging of some other paper. It's a pretty thick board. As you can tell from right here, it's going to be pretty sturdy. And I know for my board, I want it to be, or for my journal album, I want it to be 7 inches tall, 5 inches across, and we'll have a 1-inch spine. So I'm going to set that up on my cutting board. And I have my blade, and I also like to use a metal ruler for this. So on my cutting board, I've got the lines I want to use to line things up, and I'm going to do some marking as well. So this is about a 12-inch board. It's a little longer than 12-inch, so I should be able to get everything I need out of this board. There are a couple of little indentions in the board right up here, but that I think will be fine. If I wanted to, I can flip it over. And let's see, this may be a better side to use. So like I said, we want it to go 5 across, so from 4 to 9, that's going to give us 5 inches. And we want to go down 7. So I'm going to just cut straight down at this 9-inch mark, and it's going to take several cuts through, I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'm going to stop at the 7-inch mark on my ruler. Now, I'm not going to move my ruler, if I can help it, until I know this cut has gone through. And the reason I can tell you that is because I've done it before and then had to really try to match things up. Okay, so there it is. I've got that cut made. Okay, I have turned my board, and now I want to go ahead and cut, and I should have done this at first, the 7-inch line. So if I go from 4, and that's going to be at 11, so I'm going to line everything up, and I'm going to go ahead and cut straight across and use the whole length of this 12-inch board, because I will only need 11, but I can cut an extra spine that I'm sure I will use in another piece. And there we go. Went right across. Let's cut another 5-inch piece. We'll go from 5 to 10. Okay, these are our 2 covers, and now let's do our spine. And there's our 1-inch spine. I don't have any 12-inch black sheets of paper, so I'm going to take 2 8.5 by 11-inch sheets and line up on the 8.5-inch sides there. Well, I'm going to actually glue along this 11-inch side. I said glue. I'm probably, I think, going to use this tear tape. This is 1/2 inch tear tape. And I'm going to apply this to the edge of one of the sheets of black paper. I like to use black as my lining here. We're going to use black to cover up our board, paperboard. Okay, so I really want to make sure that's on there good. I'm not going to pull the entire piece up yet, but I'm going to go ahead and line this up. Hold that end there. I have it lined up at the top, and it's lined up along the bottom. And then I'm just going to pull the tape through and just really press this down. Now, I'm not going to worry so much about this seam, because after we cover the chipboard with the black, then we're going to end up using some pretty decorative Valentine paper. Now, I've already put two-sided tape on each of my cover pieces. We're actually going to take that off and attach it in this direction, but I just wanted you to see how I had applied the tape. What I'm going to plan to do is I want about an inch border around each of the outside pieces. Now, between the front cover and the spine, I want about 1/8 of an inch. I'm just really eyeballing all this. And then from the spine to the back cover, we'll do about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to turn these over and tape these down onto the black paper, and then we're going to cut this out. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to take all of this tape out and flip them over. I'm also going to use a little bit of glue so that we can make sure that these pieces are down comfortably. I know I just moved that spine there, and that's okay, because we're going to place it when I flip everything over again. Now I'm going to take, I use Tombow liquid glue. And I'm just really wanting to get those edges really good. I'm going to do the inside just a little bit. And then when I place this down, again, I'm wanting that approximately inch border. Okay, and now I'm going to repeat that for each of these pieces, and I'll come back and show you what that looks like. So now I've placed both the covers and the spine. On the other side, it is glued and taped down, and I have pressed down. You can see I've got about an inch border on these two sides. Once this is dry, I'm going to come in and cut. But for now, I'm going to leave this here, let it have some time to dry, and I've got a really thick book I'm going to set on top, and I'm going to let that sit for a little bit. We've given this some time to dry, and now I need to trim out these other two sides. Let's give us an inch border. I'm going to line up the edge as close as I can, just kind of eyeballing it with the 1 inch, and I'm going to trim this off. And then we'll flip it to the other side. Let's see if we can fit. It's not going to quite fit all the way, but I can work with this. And we're going to trim again. Oh, it actually did go all the way. And I just need to watch this right here because we have some overlap. And I'll cut through that. And let's see what that leaves us with. So now you can see we have our full cover and everything. I want to trim off the corners because that makes our folds a little bit easier. And some people have tools to do this. I just kind of tried on my own. You could make a straight triangular cut, but I'm going to do a little bit of an angle. I'm not going to go all the way to the corner, but I'm going to go almost, or at least that's what I'm going to try to do. Go almost to the corner, and then we will angle back up. So it creates an angle like this, and I'm going to repeat that on all 4 sides, or on all 4 corners. If you'll remember, we connected those two 8.5 by 11 inch sheets of paper, and that connection, you can see it better on this side, is along this back flap. It's the flap that I'm going to use for the back, but we're going to end up covering this with paper, so it's not really going to be visible, but I still like to put it as the back flap. So that's what I want to keep in mind as I'm working with this. Now I'm also going to make sure I'm going to start doing my folds. I can fold my book here. And the next part that I want to do is I want to fold in these 4 sides. And so we're just going to start by making this fold, giving it a little bit of a bend there, and then of course using our bone folder to give us the nice crisp edges. I'm going to do this folding first, and then we'll come in and add our glue and our tape. I want to make sure I get that up tight. And you can see how it's going to be when we cover, and that's where our cuts came into play. It makes the nice corners, but we're also covering over the top there mainly, because then we're going to fill in with our pretty decorative paper. Now I'm going to apply some tape. This is how I've applied this 1/2 inch 2-sided tear tape. And I don't actually cover the entire flap. It's okay if you do, but since I'm going to use a combination of this and glue, I have not found it to be a need. So I'm going to start by first doing these longer edges, this one in the top. Before I fold this up, I am going to apply some glue. And at this point, I'm going to put it on the tape and on that black. And then we're just going to, again, fold up. We want to make sure we're getting all the way up. And really pressing this down. Getting that there. Okay, now let's flip it over and let's go with the top part. Okay. Now let's do the sides, and it doesn't matter which one you start with. Now we want to give this just a little time to set, and then we will begin adding some of our pretty papers. Other thing I like to do, remember how we did the corners? We didn't cut all the way to the board, and that was mainly so that these corners would be covered, but sometimes it makes a really sharp point like right here, so I just take my bone folder and just kind of tap on it and push, kind of clear that sharp point, soften it up just a bit. And that looks good. I hope you've enjoyed watching me get the base part of our album put together, covering the chipboard, and now comes the fun part. We're going to do the decorating with lots of pretty paper. So look at the link that I have below to the follow-up video where we're going to decorate this album now.